Hello, every pony, and welcome to episode 10
Woohoo!
of the Brony Bookclub. I can't believe. Can you believe that we actually did? We're at episode 10.
I know, right? That's kind of awesome.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna still keep under wraps. For those who didn't listen last week, which is probably almost everyone, we don't have a guest on this week. We're doing something special, but we're not gonna reveal it yet. Still a secret. We're gonna build up to it.
Oh, okay.
First off, I have to make, I guess you could call it a correction. I feel terrible about this. This is a fic I read right after recording last week's episode. It's a human fic that would have been perfect to mention, so I have to now. So, this is a human fic I just got to quickly talk about. It's called But She's a Pony by Uka Joe. First off, really amazing universe idea. Basically, about 5 years ago, someone somehow opened a portal to Equestrian. Ever since then, trade and immigration between us have been really well. Everything's been working out pretty much. And so in it, it's just this guy who he's looking for a roommate, and then finds out that the roommate he got is a pony, specifically Fluttershy. And it's him trying to deal. Like, he's just kind of like, that's kind of weird, but then getting used to her and being like, yeah, she's a pretty cool person. And it's moving on from there, and it's really well done.
Oh, boy.
In fact, I like the universe so much that I'm talking with the author. I'm thinking of making it a shared universe. For those of you who don't know what that means, it means we would set up, we'd have like, basic information about the universe, and then anyone could ask us and then make a story in that universe. And we'd all be able to cross over with each other, whatever you want. And so, because I definitely have a great story idea for that universe. So, it's very fun. Great fic. The only weird thing is it's written in second person. I don't understand that, but okay. Yeah, but besides that, really good.
I will be checking that out. Well, you had me at Fluttershy, but the premise sounds interesting, too. So.
Yeah. All right. Of course, next, we got to talk about our updates. So, I'm going to have... we're actually, from now on, in order to balance everything out more, we're not going to be talking about updates. We're also going to be talking about fics we just finished reading that are very short, usually like one-shots or a couple chapter ones. So this week, since we're allowing the new format, he has 2, I have 3, so we'll tete-a-tete. I'll go first. So, as usual, almost every week, the Prince of Ponyville is updated once again, and this update was freaking awesome. It pretty much consisted, a couple chapters ago, Blue Blood got kidnapped by the bad guys, and they're trying to talk him over to their side, and he's just being a badass. He's just making fun of them, completely taking out everything they're saying, and it's just hilarious. It's back to being, after being pretty dark and scary for a while, it's back to being the hilarious thing I'm used to. So I'm really loving that update, though the next one's probably going to scare the crap out of me again. So, Sam?
Okay. Well, first, yeah, I've got a few one-shots that I've read recently. First one, I didn't think was amazing, but if you enjoy a sad, just, a short sad fic, then there's one called My Number One Assistant. It came off to me as a little bit pointless in a way, since essentially the idea is just that some sort of thing about the changelings and their physiology is poisonous to dragons, and as a result, Spike dies shortly after the Season 2 finale, and it's just the funeral. Now, as I said, it does seem kind of it comes out of nowhere. It doesn't really do much for a whole story or anything. It's just a very short, everyone being sad about it, but it is pretty well written. It's got the patterns of grief for each of the characters down pretty well for as short as it is, and, if you enjoy a short, sad fic, then you could certainly do worse. Okay.
This one, my next one updated, again, this guy, the author's been on here before, Psychic Scuba Diver. The Dresden Phillies is updated once again. I'm glad it's updating much more often. And this is a really weird coincidence. This chapter was also a main character having been abducted by the bad guys and though actually this time the bad guys are more well-intentioned extremists who have no idea what's actually going on. But still, very funny to read occasionally, but mostly just like, oh god, poor Twilight, why? But yeah, it's still very good. I can't wait for next week. So,
yeah, I do need to read that sequel still. I need to get on that soon because I loved the first one. Okay, so there's another one. A friend recommended this to me a while ago. It's called Beneath the Silver Sky. It's a pretty brief. It's just Princess Luna after the events of, you know, the very beginning of the show, just kind of sitting in a field and looking up at the knight that she brought on, and another pony comes up. It's very unclear it's purposefully unclear who it is, as though it's some sort of, it seems like some sort of other being or something, but it comes up and just talks to her a bit. It's hard to even really completely explain just the way that he ends up talking to her and kind of showing her a purpose behind her role that she didn't quite understand at the time. I mean, you know, because obviously she was kind of confused after all of that happened. Again, it's hard to explain, but it's just really interesting. It's the one that kind of makes you think a little bit afterwards. So it's called Beneath the Silver Sky, and yeah, that was interesting.
Definitely. And the last one is Vic. I actually just have it reading in between episodes. It's the sequel to a story called Moving On, Silver Spoon Story. And the sequel is called The Spoon That Refused to Polish. Basically, the idea behind the two of them is Diamond Tiara has to move away. And so Silver Spoon is lonely at first, but then gets pushed by Cheerly and actually becomes friends with Twist and the Cutie Mark Crusaders. And she starts, you know, developing as a character. And it's really good look into her mind, making her a very likable character. And this update was just another really enjoyable one, though it definitely, I've been thinking it's going to go in this direction for a while. I was like, there are definitely undertones, and then it just went, yes, one of the characters feels that way. I was like, I knew it! Totally called it. So I definitely recommend the story. It's very interesting. So now it is time for us to reveal what the heck the point of the episode was. All right. Today we're talking about fics that make us angry.
Yes, so angry.
We're venting our frustration on the writers who have done this to us. So maybe less the writers and more just their little failings.
Yeah.
So quickly, to make sure you understand, we are not... If you're reading this and you're actually one of these authors we're talking about, we don't not like you. We've never met you. We're just like, we wanted a better story than you gave us, and we were trying to tell you how you could have made it better. You know, how you could have not broken our hearts with it. So we're gonna slowly ramp up to it.
Yeah, and really, there's only one of these that we despise. So you know.
Yeah, only one of these that we really despise.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, we're gonna start off with just the level of disappointment.
Disappointed!
So what disappointed me? It's called So Long and Thanks for All the Ponies by Sir Ginger.
Oh.
And this idea has so much potential. It's like, yeah, we'll mix Hitchhiker's Guide with ponies. It seems to work because all the authors seem to read it, so, hey, that works perfectly. And yet, I don't know. It felt like there were some differences from Hitchhiker's Guide, but it really felt a lot of copy-pasting, and it didn't work. I'm trying to explain. It's very hard to say. It's just I might as well have been reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but mentally replacing people's names. Because it didn't feel different enough. It really didn't. And there were a couple interesting changes, but overall, I was very left disappointed. Especially, I guess the way I could compare it is a good fusion fic is something like My Little Chrono Triggers on Magic.
I was going to mention that, actually, yeah.
And the reason that works is because they took the story of one thing, but literally they didn't just put the characters' names there. They put the characters there. And the story changed accordingly due to the characters' own decisions and how they would react to things. And that did not happen in this one. And that is what made me so angry. That is less angry and just more, this could have been really good, and it's just wasted potential. Sam?
Yeah. Okay, well, the one that I was just kind of disappointed in, it's called Avatar: The Last Alicorn. Now, any of you that are familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender, which in all seriousness should be all of you, it's a brilliant show. Watch it. You can probably figure out what this is. It's, you know, same type of crossover as My Little Chrono. It tries to retell the story of Avatar: The Last Airbender. But in all fairness, I can see how this is kind of difficult. When I first saw it, I was trying to figure out, but before I even read it, I was trying to figure out, okay, so how would I do this? You know, especially since the natural thing to do may be to replace the elements with the types of ponies, except there are only 3 types of ponies, unless you count alicorns, which wouldn't work because they're kind of a combination of all of them. And, there are a lot of difficulties to be faced here, I understand. The problem here was that it ended up only really in the basic concept, from what I've read, has it actually tried to emulate the story it's from. I mean, whereas Avatar The Last Airbender started off with Sokka and Katara finding Aang in an iceberg because the Fire Nation has, started this whole war and all that stuff. This one, it's the Water Tribe, or that has actually started, or the Water Nation, rather, that has started the war in the first place, and then Aang, who is Twilight Sparkle, is found by Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy while they're rock climbing, and I just don't really even... It's so very different. I mean, and from that, who's who? I don't know who the characters are supposed to be emulating, considering there are 3 characters where there were originally 2. And some of the choices for which characters, which I'm not entirely sure I see. Like, I get Twilight being Aang from the perspective of Twilight being an extremely powerful unicorn and Aang being the Avatar and stuff like that, but as a character, they're nearly complete opposites. I would imagine Aang more maybe like Pinkie Pie.
I was going to say like Pinkie Pie.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it could be... I could totally imagine going through the story and having Pinkie Pie kind of go between Pinkie Pie and Pinkamena Diane Pie, depending on what's going on, but then learning to kind of balance it, because that's what Aang did. He had to learn to retain his childness while also becoming a mature person.
Pinkamena could be the Avatar state.
Oh, gosh, that would be wonderful. Yeah. But I mean, that's just the thing. It's stuff like that. Zuko is Rarity, which I'm not really sure. There's some ways in which I can kind of see that, but I would have put Rainbow Dash as Zuko. Like, just, I don't know. There are some...
I'd actually put Applejack. I think Applejack would be a good Zuko as well. The whole idea of tradition and family.
That's true. That's very true, actually.
Zuko's character.
Yeah.
Seems to
Does that mean Granny Smith would be the Fire Lord?
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
No, Uncle Iroh.
Oh yeah. Duh. That would make perfect sense. So yeah, Uncle Iroh is Celestia in here. So we have Rarity and Celestia related, I guess. I don't really know. It's just, yeah. I mean...
Bloom of Azula.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Seriously.
Cutie Mark Crusader Azula gang.
Oh no. That would be the greatest and most somehow terrifying and wonderful thing ever. but anyway, yeah, it has some decent ideas there. Like, apparently the war comes with the Eternal Night, from what I've been reading, and it's, I mean, some good ideas, but there are just a lot of things that make me wonder exactly how the author planned on taking Avatar The Last Airbender and putting it in this universe with these characters, as opposed to, I hate bringing this up again, except I also love it because it was a brilliant fic, My Little Chrono, where it actually follows the story pretty much beat for beat, but then, just adjusts it so that it makes more sense in terms of the world and the themes of My Little Pony, stuff like that. That's just... I didn't feel like this was emulating Avatar The Last Airbender in any sort of really coherent way outside of the basic concept of element bending and such. So, yeah, kind of disappointed. Interesting, but disappointed.
Oh. All right, then. So next we have to go to Ticked. What is, like,
yes.
Not quite angry, but just a little like, okay, what? Now I have to mention for mine, I'm going to insert right here. 18 minutes. 14 seconds. That was a timestamp that you should go to if you don't want to be spoiled on this particular fic, because I'm going to spoil the crap out of it.
Oh.
Okay? Because that's the entire problem. It's called The Great Desert by Shadzi. Now, it's a Legend of Zelda fanfic, and it has a really great idea. So basically, most people played Wind Waker, which is like, yeah, there's this huge flood, now the whole, almost entire world is an archipelago. Okay, that's interesting. So at some point, something similar happened later on, and so the gods instead turned it into a desert. And so you're expecting, right off the bat, you're thinking, okay, that kind of, so we're going with a Western, right? And at first it makes it seem like a Western, like there's a lot of Western influence. But then, no. apparently it's modern day because there's television and there's all this kind of stuff. And you're like, okay, I can accept that change. And it's really well written. Link is very interesting. Him having to not only learn how to sword fight, but also gunfight is hilarious. Zelda is really cool. They do a lot of interesting stuff. And then at one point they're going... and the best part is it feels like a Zelda game. Like, I'm just going to give off some of the great points about this. There's this whole idea where every previous Link is like a spirit animal. Okay, like in Twilight Princess. There was the Golden Wolves, which was revealed recently. Yeah, that was Link from Ocarina of Time, who taught you all those lessons. It's something similar, but it's a different spirit animal for every Link, and they keep teaching the hero all these different lessons. And the animals are cool, and just meeting all the different Links is really fun. And that's a great idea. And then there's like which obviously would be a side quest in the game that looks really cool. And there's all this really interesting stuff that makes it feel like a good Zelda game. Like if it was actually made into a game. And then there's this point where they find a wrecked spaceship. And inside is Din, Naru, and Foror. And apparently they're aliens. And they they terraformed Hyrule out of an uninhabitable planet. And that magic doesn't actually exist. And yeah, they created the Triforce, which is actually this really advanced tech. And so, basically, it's a doing in the Wizard of Zelda. It's just like, yeah, all of it, no, it's all sci-fi, not fantasy at all. And first of all, what? And second of all, what?
Oh, boy.
I could accept it at first, because I could just go, okay, it's like a funny little Easter egg. Like they mentioned, it's like at the top of the map, if you investigate, you find this little thing, but it's not canon. Like how in Ocarina of Time, if you look in the palace windows, you see pictures of Mario and Yoshi and stuff. It's like, that doesn't actually mean anything. It's just fun. But no. Later, the entire climax of the story revolves around them being in trouble and them having to work out a deal with the goddesses. And oh my god, it's so horrible. It's a complete destruction of this freaking story. Oh, it's so bad because it was so good. It was so good. And then it wasn't. And then he had to... Why would you want to make Zelda sci-fi? That makes no sense. Oh, and that's not even the biggest thing. The biggest problem is early on, Link was talking about how he's read about the legends and comic books and stuff like that. But he doesn't believe in magic at all. And then, so I can accept that, because you could just accept that, magic has waned, and so there isn't that much evidence of it left. I'm okay with him not believing in it at first. The problem is later... It's revealed that the Twilight Realm is an established country in another dimension that they trade with. And specifically, the Twilight Realm trades unique magic objects to Hyrule.
What?
And Link knew about this. What? Oh, God, the plot... It hurts. It hurts. Oh, God. I'm so sorry, Shanty. What were you thinking? Oh. Sam, you go on. Sue for a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I feel like maybe I should be more upset at this one, because I don't hate it as much as you got upset there. But okay. Okay, I'll just preface this by saying I'm annoyed by Mary Sue stories.
Agreed.
You know what? I mean, self-insert, yeah, generally sucks in the first place, but can be good if you do it right. I certainly have nothing against, but whatever. But Mary Sue stories are annoying. But then what's even more annoying is when, instead of inserting yourself into them to act as the Mary Sue, you use one of the established characters as said Mary Sue.
Agreed.
Not okay with that. There is a story, and I found it a while ago and cannot find it again, so apologies for not being able to give the name or anything, but I was searching for it when we were going to do the shipping episode, because I haven't even, I started reading fan fiction when I started hosting the show in the first place, but even then, shipping is just not, I don't generally enjoy them, so when we were doing that episode, I had to go around and find a good few to make sure that I actually had some experience in the genre, and so, liking Fluttershy a lot, I figured, okay, I'll see what Fluttershy ships there are. I found one regarding FlutterMac. It was a single one-shot, and rather than actually being a story of their meeting and falling in love and et cetera, all the typical stuff, it was a parent story wherein they were already engaged, and but not married, and Fluttershy was pregnant and was upset because she didn't think that her friends would accept her for being pregnant before they were actually married. Now, to insert something here and make sure this is understood, I have nothing against the idea that one should wait for sex until marriage. Nothing against that. I'm a Christian myself. I understand. No problems with that. I'm not criticizing that whatsoever. But the whole story really read like the author was basically saying, I made this mistake and I want my friends to accept me like Fluttershy's friends will accept her. Like, it really read off like the author had done that exact same thing and was feeling so bad about it that she decided to write a fan fiction wherein that happened to Fluttershy and all the other ponies were just okay with it and helped her out with it and stuff. I mean, again, I have no problem with the idea that one should wait, nor do I have a problem. I mean, obviously in a situation like that, friends should be supportive and helpful and all that stuff, but to use Fluttershy as a vehicle for dissuading your own guilt, I was not okay with that. Kind of annoyed me. I went in wanting a Fluttershy and Big Mac romance, and instead I got someone trying to convince themselves that a mistake that they made was all right. And that annoyed me quite a bit. Again, nothing against the... I've had enough discourse, I think. I just want to make that clear. That was not what I expected when I went into that fic, and it kind of annoyed me. So, anyway, Roy, what's your next one?
Okay, now I'm just mad. This is just freaking mad. Oddly enough, it is also another Zelda fic. And this one is one I've mentioned before in the podcast, and I alluded then I'd be talking about it. It is called The Stuff of Legends. Now, as I explained last time, the basic idea is it's a modern AU of Zelda where, like Hyrule is a country and Holodrum is a country, Labrina is a country, blah, blah, blah. And Link is just an orphan kid who is friends with this kid named Sheik and is friends with this kid named Zelda. And so it's all like, they eventually get a friend, Midna. And it's really fun for a long time. The characters are really well written. They very much feel like, as I said last time, like Link wears green cargo pants, and frequently just stuffs things in his pockets. And he has a Rubik's Cube that he just pulls out and plays with occasionally. And then, like, Zelda's is studying Hylian history, and then Sheik is an expert in parkour, and then it's like all these kind of things where you're like, wow, this really fits. I really like this. And it has a lot of great little side stories where they used pretty much every single character from the entire Zelda canon, and it was so good. It was really interesting and really good. But there's always a but. Then the twists came. You're gonna spoil
this one too?
Here's a timestamp right here.
2659.
Okay, that's when you should go to if you don't want to get spoiled by this, because so the first twist was a little bit led up to. A little bit. Where they keep leading up to, there's this big festival where it's this honorary festival they do every so often, and it's a play of the legend, where they get someone to play the hero and the princess and the king, or the evil king rather, and then one of each of the sages. And so everyone gets cast according to, Link is obviously the hero. Oddly enough, I'm getting feedback from you.
Yeah, apologies. My headphones unplugged and your voice started going throughout it all.
All right, so, as I was saying, and Sheik is the Sage of Shadow. And, so you go around, like, okay, this makes sense, these all make sense. And then, oddly enough, what was a really interesting choice was the Evil King was played by a character who'd never shown up before, Ganondorf Dragmire, the Secretary of Defense, I believe, or the Secretary of State, something like that. And I was like, that's an interesting choice. But then the ceremony starts, and all of a sudden, Ganondorf reveals, he, kills the king with magic, and then summons a bunch of moblins, and reveals, the legend is not a legend, the cycle is merely repeating once again. And so it's like, oh crap, and a lot of people don't like that first twist. I think it's okay. I think it's better if it hadn't been done, but you could still do it well, and for a while it was. Everyone was arming up, they were accepting their magic powers. I was like, this could still be interesting. And then the second twist happens. Ganondorf kills Sheik and Zelda, and then he reveals that this world isn't real. It's all a dream. basically right during the final battle of Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf hits Ganondorf and Zelda's magics during the fight mixed, and so now they're all dreaming this, and they have to die or else so they can wake up in the real world. And so Link accepts his death, and then he wakes up in Ocarina of Time and fights Ganondorf again. And wow, that is the worst twist ever.
What?
I know! What? I mean, do people not understand that the reason we joke about it was all a dream twist, is it because it sucks?
Usually. Now and again it can work out well, but, I mean, we're talking about things like the Wizard of Oz movie, where, it was all a dream, but it actually changed her in the way she viewed things or whatever. Something like that, where it's just, oh, okay, wake up and then finish whatever. Like nothing ever happened. What? Why?
And the reason I'm so mad is I was so invested in it. Like, there's some great fan art of it, of like Link and Midna and them all playing together, and it's just so fun, and it's something you grow attached to, and then it gets ruined. And so, I forgot to mention, the author is Ritu3K, which I don't know how. That's another username I don't think was ever supposed to be pronounced out loud. But
that's frustrating.
It is just frustrating doesn't really describe. It's just it's definitely anger. It's just, and the thing is, again, I'm not going to say that twist can never work. Another way the dreaming twist works is, I'm not going to name it because of just by selling this. If you want to know the name, ask in the comments. I'll PM you. It's a webcomic that had a Buddha dream twist, except that was the halfway point, and it went into this whole world of going into the dreams, and the dreams being this alternate dimension, and it was awesome.
Huh.
And it took that heartbreak from the Buddha dream twist and really made it worth it, and it was a really great story. It's one of my favorite webcomics ever, and goddamn, far more original than this fic, I'm so sad to say. So, Sam, what you mad at?
Oh, man, that would be frustrating. Okay, so, this is one I found recently, and you know what, I'm not even going to... I feel kind of bad for getting this angry at it, because it's just a random small-time person on fanfiction.net. I'm not even going to bother mentioning the author, because I have nothing against the guy, and it's not... I mean, it's not like it's a big thing or anything, but this annoyed me. The idea... Well, for one, it's one of those where... it basically, like, you look at it and it has a ton of white space because each paragraph is basically one line of dialogue, and then another paragraph which is just another line of dialogue, and then another line of dialogue, and it just keeps going like that. Barely any explanation, and then, now and again scenes will be changed just by saying the name of where we are now as though it were a script or something. It's, just in terms of... Okay, I'm a grammar Nazi, all right? That stuff just gets to me. I hate it. But, for a while, the story seemed pretty innocuous. It's incomplete, and it's on chapter 3 right now. But the idea at first is that Pinkie Pie has had some sort of pony who's described as an Australian pony. I'm not sure where Australia fits into Equestria, but... Yeah, so Australian...
It's Space Australia. It's Space Australia.
Oh, okay, yeah, that works. Space Australia, then. Probably has the accent and everything still, but I don't know. Magic. Deal with it. So, yeah, the... Oh, gosh, Drongon instead of Dragon. Sorry, I just saw that again, looking at it. Drongon instead of Dragon. I don't even... Anyway, so, yeah, the story is just that there's this mysterious Australian pony who's staying with Pinkie. It doesn't say how he got there or anything, but they're there, and then they go to see their other friends, and there's something... Basically, the idea is that this pony has some sort of past with Celestia and Luna, and we don't know what it is or anything, and it still hasn't gotten to the point where it's explicitly revealed it, but it has gotten to the point wherein they explained the thing that pissed me off. That I assume it's this pony. Of course, they haven't said so. You can see the twist coming a mile away. Apparently, back before Nightmare Moon and all that stuff, Celestia and Luna were worried that their bloodline may not continue, which I guess is going under the assumption that they are the only people in the ponies and their family whatsoever, And
But we already know that's not true.
I know. So I don't really know, but apparently their solution was to use magic to create a baby between Luna and Celestia.
What?
Yeah. Now, outside of the whole, apparently
Incest?
they're the only two in there. Yeah, exactly. Now we're straight up getting into, okay, so Celunia and Celestia, Celunia? What? Okay, sorry. Celestia and Luna were apparently worried about this, and then instead of leaving it up to the rest of their family, or I don't know, maybe actually just being with a normal stallion, that seems to make more sense to me. Plus, then both of them would have heirs. Just, I don't even know how on earth the author came up with the idea that their response to that concern should be magical incest. I mean, just in all honesty, why? So
I don't know.
Yeah, I really don't even. So it's just this big. I mean, outside of the badly written and stuff like that, as soon as they started explaining that, and then when all the other ponies were just like, oh, okay, I get it, and I'm like, what? No, I'm sorry, I would have gone, wait, what? You know, that would have had a bigger effect on. I really don't even still. I just don't get it. The fact that this is an idea just boggles my mind. So I guess it's even less angry and more just like, what the heck?
It's weird because it's kind of similar. I read a fic, I think it's still updating, called My Little Mommies, which is, I guess it's somewhat similar. Basically, they're investigating, the main six are investigating this abandoned mansion that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. And they found this magical device that its original evil owner, like this famous demon king or something, he created monsters with it because when the mirror is touched by two things, it creates what's the word for it? A spawn between the two. But it does that with the main six, so that there's three different babies, and it's two. I think it was Applejack Rarity, Pinkie Pie, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, and Rainbow Dash Twilight, and I was like.
Huh.
I was kind of interested. It isn't really going anywhere, but I was still like, at least that's a better reason. Like,
yeah.
It's an accident. And the only thing I don't like is that their logic of if you mix a Earth Pony with anything, it's the other thing that it becomes. And then if you mix a unicorn and a Pegasus, you get an Alicorn. I'm like, what? No. I think it's pretty possible for a mixed parentage to have an Earth Pony. Otherwise, the Earth Ponies would be extinct. Kind of obviously.
Yeah, seriously.
So yeah, that was weird. So now we're gonna finally move on.
Wait. Sorry, just to add to it, I was looking in here to make sure that what I was said was correct. In all actuality, Celestia and Luna did not decide to do that on her own. Luna decided that since they were the last of their bloodline, which I don't know,
what?
But yeah, apparently they realized they were the last of their bloodline. So Luna did research into the possibility of magically conceiving a child in one of them so the bloodline could continue. Then Luna found a way, but Celestia refused. I can't imagine why. So Luna apparently cut a lock of her mane without knowing so that she could use it to do the magic. So, pseudo-rape incest? With Celestia and Luna, I just don't even... Yeah, I don't know. I just really don't know. So anyway, I just found that little detail and had to share that as well. So, anyway, moving on.
Okay, then. So then,
yes.
Now we move on to... We're sharing this one. You have no idea how mad we are.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
CUPCAKES by SergeantSprinkles.
I know it's the obvious choice, but there's a freaking reason why it's the obvious choice.
Okay. I think I only have to say this about it. It is the only piece of media ever that by watching / reading it, anything, I have been physically ill. I was about to puke on my computer reading it.
Yeah.
That has never happened before, ever, or since. That just doesn't happen. Except with CUPCAKES.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think there might be 2 or 3 bronies who don't know what CUPCAKES is, so we better inform them.
Oh, boy. Do we have to?
Yes. CUPCAKES is the story where Rainbow Dash goes to hang out with Pinkie Pie and make cupcakes, and she gets knocked out, and when she wakes up, she's in this dungeon, and Pinkie Pie slowly tortures and kills her, and then makes her into cupcakes.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, it's the only thing on Equestria Daily to have the tag grimdark as fuck.
Yeah, and for good freaking reason. Man. I
don't know what to say.
I mean, there's the obvious simple fact of, and I mean, there are varying views on the idea of taking something as innocent as this and doing stuff like that to it, of course, but what gets me, I've mentioned Fallout Equestria on here, and that is grimdark. That is very, very grimdark, but you know what? It's grimdark for a reason. Within the context of that, horrible and graphic things don't just happen because horrible and graphic things, hooray. They happen because the story is actually that brutal, that mature. It uses it to further the story. On the other hand, a story like CUPCAKES that does nothing but present I mean, sure, the premise is somewhat interesting if used correctly, I'm sure. Same goes for other grimdark fics like The Rainbow Factory, but to do it just for the saving a story, I mean, it's a shock fic. It's a gore fic, and it exists for no reason other than that. And that's what pisses me off about it. Beyond the thing itself, it has no purpose beyond just being obscene and graphic. And just...
there's that. I think what really gets me is that it's not written badly. It isn't. It's actually written very well.
Yeah.
It is... the language is evocative. You're able to easily imagine in your head what is happening.
He does actually capture he actually does capture a decent idea of what Pinkie Pie would be like if she were murderously insane.
The characters are somehow in and out of character at the same time. Because on one hand, everything Pinkie Pie says sounds like something Pinkie Pie would say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's scary because she's killing ponies now.
Yeah.
And it's really horrifying, and it's a man with great talent using them for evil. And why is he using them for evil?
Yeah.
I guess it's more fun.
I suppose so. I just really don't. I mean, I know...
Yeah. I think that, ultimately, if you look at all my choices, I don't get angry at badly written things. That isn't what makes me angry. What angers me is talent that's been wasted. And there's no more such thing as a waste of talent than CUPCAKES.
True.
Someone using all of this talent and succeeding perfectly what they're attempting to do at a horrible, horrible target.
Yep.
And that is what's scary. However, I think I can heal the bomb. I actually don't remember the name of this first one. It's a really heartwarming story where I think I'll probably use it on my sad fic episode, but it's basically Pinkie Pie has a nightmare, and that is CUPCAKES. And so it's Rainbow Dash trying to comfort her after that. And it is perfect. It is exactly how Pinkie Pie would react to having a nightmare like that.
You need to show me that, actually.
I will. I'll do sad fic episodes, so we can do.
Yeah, certainly. Just that sounds... I will admit, a few interesting things have... Well, okay, on one hand, I hate the fact that CUPCAKES has affected the fandom as much as it has and crept into so many different parts of it, on one hand. But on the other hand, some fun things have come from it. I loved the part in, I'm forgetting what it was called, Elements of Gaming, I think I mentioned it in the comedy one, I think, where they played Gears of War, and then Pinkie Pie just... Because Gears of War is such a gory game and everyone was so disturbed, Pinkie Pie would do things that would creep them out. And, it was obviously a reference to something like CUPCAKES, but it was funny. And then things like how the Silent Ponyville fanfic did something similar to what you were talking about. CUPCAKES was a dream, and it was one of many horrible dreams Pinkie Pie was having that led into the similarly grimdark but still interesting Silent Ponyville. I mean, there have been some interesting uses of it. Just to be entirely honest, I'd probably give them all up if CUPCAKES never existed in the first place. I'd be okay with that.
I'm sorry, but... The other really good one is in progress. In one chapter, when Luna's visiting Ponyville, she goes to hang out with Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie's going in the kitchen to make cupcakes, and then she sees a trailer for a movie. No, a movie's on TV called CUPCAKES about a pink pony that does all of cupcakes. And so she becomes paranoid. She starts wondering if Pinkie Pie's going to do it to her. And Pinkie Pie says, like, the exact wrong things.
Okay, that does sound
And that's a hilarious joke, and I love it. But, yeah, you're right. I think I would give it up just if CUPCAKES didn't exist.
Yeah.
Though, actually, no. I don't think I would say that, because I'll take the Linkara track. Retconning things is not the way to go.
Okay, true enough.
We need to deal with our pain and accept it, rather than wish it never happened at all.
Fair enough.
Fair
and
enough.
I guess it is nice to be able to just point to CUPCAKES and say, "See, this is the ridiculously dark corner of the fandom," rather than actually. I mean, maybe CUPCAKES in a way is saving us from a bunch of other stuff by allowing us to focus on it as much as we have.
Maybe. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So, that is pretty much it. So we got to wrap it up. Actually, we have quite a bit of stuff to wrap up. First off, our next episode is going to be Tragedy Fix, and we're having on Kavande, author of the Blue Blood trilogy. Can't wait to have him on. And if you'd like to email us, you can do so at thebronybookclub@yahoo.com. Please send us your questions, comment, concerns. If you want to ask Kavande something, if you want to talk about something tragedy-related, anything like that, please email us. And we have 2 emails this week. Wow, double the amount of our podcast best.
Yeah.
I know, seriously. First email is from Andrew Jordan. He just says, I came across a story that I thought you might like. It's called Serenity Under the Night Sky. I thought it was good. You should give it a try. It kind of rhymes. I don't think it was supposed to, but I tried looking it up. I can't seem to find it anywhere. Are you sure that's the exact title?
I just found it on FilmFiction.
Are you serious? Is it exactly that?
Maybe, yeah. It's called Serenity Under the Night Sky. It's only 2 chapters in. It's a romance comedy and slice of life.
Okay, I might look. Okay, link me to that because I couldn't find it for some reason.
Okay, yeah. If that's not, I forget the name of whoever wrote that. But if that's not the one you were talking about,
Andrew.
Okay, yeah, Andrew. If that's not the one that you're talking about, then feel free to email us again and correct us. But yeah, that's the one I'm finding.
Right.
So.
And the other email we got was from Cody Vett. Cody says, hello. Cody MacArthur Vett here. That's not his real name, apparently. First-time listener, first-time commenter. First-time responding to work via email as well. Should be interesting, or at least it would be if I had not already made this exact comment on Jason Human's journal post about the episode. Just a little bit of editing there, and I can send it to you guys. It is incredibly long, and he apparently also cut out a rant against the Conversion Bureau. It's incredibly long. It goes and talks about My Little Dashie. It goes to talk about Be Human. Talks about something about TV tropes. Love TV tropes.
TV tropes is great.
His entire comment is apparently on last week's episode being reported from Jason the Human. So if you want to read that, read it there. So I'm sorry I cannot read. This would take like 5 minutes to read all of this. I'm very sorry. Thank you for commenting. Actually, I'll probably put the whole thing in the description. I think that's a good idea.
That works.
All right, that about wraps it up for this week. I don't think we have anything left. Do you have anything left?
No, I think that takes care of it.
All right, then. So, thank you for listening. Cannot wait to be back next week.
Yep.
It has been fun getting out all of this tension.
Woohoo.
All right, then.
Yep.
Goodbye, everyone.
See ya.